thanks for being here. I'm Troy Charles. Here are your top stories. The Thunder Bay District Health Unit reported 5 new COVID-19 cases today, with the active case count falling to 37. It's the lowest level since November 15th of last year. Of the new cases, 4 were in Thunder Bay and the surrounding areas, while 1 was in a District First Nation. 2 were considered a result of close contact, 2 had no known exposure, and an exposure category for the final case was still pending. COVID-19 variants have been identified in another 7 previously announced cases. There has now been a total of 57 variant cases in the district. As of today, there were 3 district residents in hospital with the virus, with 1 of those in the intensive care unit. The health unit also announced today that a COVID-19 outbreak at the Musselwhite mine has been declared over. The outbreak at the Newmont Gold Mine, located about 500 kilometers north of Thunder Bay, saw at least 10 workers infected with a COVID-19 variant. The outbreak was first declared on April 21st. Medical Officer of Health Dr. Janet DeMille confirmed a variant case was first introduced to the site by a worker living outside of the Thunder Bay district. Another COVID-19 outbreak was declared at the mine earlier this year in February. The Northwestern Health Unit reported 10 new cases in its Sioux Lookout Health Hub today, matching the number reported there yesterday. The hub now has 38 active cases, the most of any area in the NWHU. An outbreak in Lac Seul First Nation is accounting for many of those new cases. The First Nation, located about 40 kilometers northwest of Sioux Lookout, said on Friday it had 30 active cases, with 13 reported that day. There are 78 active cases across the Northwestern Health Unit as of today. OPP are investigating a homicide in Mishigogaming First Nation after a deadly assault. On May 1st, just after 7 a.m., Anishinaabe police responded to an assault at a Henry Street residence. 17-year-old Lenora Mikanek was airlifted to hospital and later died from her injuries. The accused is 32-year-old Jerry Fox. He remains in custody awaiting his next court appearance, and additional charges are pending. The investigation is ongoing and is a collaborative effort between NAPS and the OPP. Thunder Bay Mayor Bill Morrow is holding out hope that when this most recent stay-at-home order ends on May 19th, the Thunder Bay District will be able to at least partially reopen. The mayor is hoping the province will revisit its color-coded regional framework and not lump the Northwest in with the rest of Southern Ontario. Avery McRae has the details.
3 weeks ago, Thunder Bay Mayor Bill Morrow tabled a motion calling for the Thunder Bay District to be allowed to reopen outdoor amenities if case numbers stay low and our vaccine shipments reduce. At the time, the mayor slightly qualified his motion to acknowledge the rise in variant cases sprouting in the city, which so far hasn't led to an uptick in cases.
We've got about 10 days or 2 weeks more of data, and the numbers are holding. And in fact, the numbers are still going down, and the variants of concern have been in our community now for 2 to 4 weeks.
With less than 2 weeks remaining in the current stay-at-home order, the mayor believes it is time for the government to revisit their color-coded Reopening Ontario framework. Given the district's current numbers, Thunder Bay would be placed in the yellow or orange stage, which would make the summer feel a lot more normal than the past 5 months.
It would allow for all our outdoor amenities to be open. It would allow for a number of our small businesses to reopen. And I think it's getting tougher and tougher for the province to maintain the position that they have currently undertaken.
Even if the province decides not to revive its color-coded framework, Mayor Morrow still believes that Northwestern Ontario should have some sort of special designation. Certainly, some areas that are closer, like Toronto and Hamilton, could see residents traveling between jurisdictions to enjoy the amenities, but no one is making the trek to the north shores of Lake Superior.
People are not going to drive to Thunder Bay to golf from the GTHA or from any of those hotspots. They're not going to jump on a plane. Certainly this can be accommodated. And so as it was last summer, and as their science table currently supports now, as they did weeks ago, when the most recent stay-at-home order was put in place.
Avery McRae, TBT News.
The Ford government continues to call on Ottawa to implement tougher border restrictions, but Thunder Bay's Medical Officer of Health notes there are already strong measures in place. It's already a challenge for international students enrolled at Lakehead University and Confederation College, particularly for those coming from India and Pakistan. The federal government banned direct flights from those countries last month. Dr. Janet DeMille recently pointed to other measures as well, both at the schools and at the border, when asked if incoming international students pose a risk to our community.
Those two institutions have strong protocols in place to support students. Anybody who's returning from outside the country, returning or coming into our area from outside the country, whether they're international students or not, there's certain expectations from the Public Health Agency of Canada that they need to do. And there's all sorts of mechanisms like electronic providing information electronically that they have to do, and testing that they have to get done.
Quetnu MPP Saul Mamakwa expressed his disappointment in the Ontario government's report on long-term care this week, saying the province has yet to create some much-needed long-term care beds in his riding. Mamakwa aired his grievance at Queen's Park, where he called out the Minister of Long-Term Care. The NDP Indigenous Affairs critic says the Menayawan Health Centre in Sioux Lookout is still awaiting beds that were promised 3 years ago. His frustration comes as the government looks to add tens of thousands of beds as a result of the pandemic without first honoring its previous commitments.
We desperately need more long-term care beds across the region in far northern Ontario. Why hasn't the government not taken any action to get 76 long-term care beds they promised to Sioux Lookout Menayawan Health Centre in 2018?
During our last round of projects, 80 projects, in that included projects for the Indigenous communities, because we believe that this is a very important area, as well as the Francophone communities and other groups that we recognize the importance of being able to serve people in their own language.
Mamakwa adds that many elders in northern and remote communities are sent away from home to receive care and only return for their funerals. The town of Red Rock is reviewing how it handles nuisance animals following a public outcry over the use of lethal traps on a group of beavers who have taken up residence in the marina. Those beavers are responsible for felling several trees that protect marina infrastructure. Adam Riley has that story.
We all know our own personal beliefs may vary from what our responsibility is for the town. So this is a hard decision. It's a hard topic, but it must be had.
The marina in the township of Red Rock is dealing with a rodent issue after a group of beavers made one of the fish beds their home and have begun doing what beavers do best, chewing down trees. Unfortunately, the beavers have targeted the trees that act as a windbreak on the marina's break wall. So the town took action, but not the action resident Kathy Chappelle was expecting when she took her dogs out for a walk late last month.
I was shocked to see there was a barricade and a sign that said, "Beware, submerged beaver traps." So I was very upset by this. I mean, I specifically go down there to watch them and take pictures of them.
Out of the 6 animals, 2 were trapped and subsequently harvested. And while Chappelle understands and respects the significant cultural and historical role of trapping, she feels this was not the way to address the issue.
Northwestern Ontario is based on the, trapping, but this is a park. This is our town park, a municipal park where people walk and play and swim and fish and enjoy, wildlife all around them. So I've been advocating very strongly to see if we can look at alternatives. And one of them is to look at putting wire fencing around the trees.
Mayor Darkis Robinson says trapping the animals is part of the town's prior practice for situations like this and was done to protect infrastructure. But after being contacted by Chappelle, the traps were removed on May 1st to allow council some time to discuss the issue and perhaps find a way to capture the animals alive and relocate them.
We are looking for alternatives as live traps. There are none in the area. We did contact the MNR, and there's none in Nipigon or Thunder Bay. So I have reached out to Red Rock Indian Band to see if there's a process maybe that they can assist us with. Again, we're trying to, appease both the public and the township.
Council has tasked its environmental committee to come up with a solution, which Chappelle says she has been invited to be a part of, and council is expected to receive a report from that committee at the first meeting in June. Adam Riley, TBT News.
A Thunder Bay resident has transformed what was once a dump into a beautiful neighborhood park. Brent Park was once full of garbage and junk, but is now often used by people walking through the neighborhood or kids playing on the field. Jaron Childs is the man responsible for the incredible park transformation. After living in the area for years and being fed up with the condition of the green space, he decided to take action. In 2016, he started a group called Friends of Brent Park when other community members wanted to get on board with helping revitalize the area. Childs contacted the city and got a pathway installed, and with grants from T-Baytel and Eco Superior, they planted over 150 trees, added rock benches, and even a bat house. Childs is incredibly proud of how the usage of the park has increased tremendously.
The amount of walking, biking, traffic has just gone through the roof. Part of that is pandemic, but this has really been a place for people to walk, to go, to get away from the motorways, to be close to trees. We do have a few neighbors in the area that are mobility challenged, so for them to be able to walk on a flat surface and get to nature is pretty important.
Childs says they are applying to 2 more grants to help fund further improvements to the park. His future plans include fixing up the soccer field and creating a skating loop for the wintertime. Joined by good friend Avery McRae. Avery, the curling bubble in Calgary, I feel like I've been talking about this thing for years now. This is the last tournament,
This
right?
is the last tournament there, which is good news if you're sick and tired of hearing of the Curling Canada bubble. But what the good news might not be is how Team Canada's match went today. We got those highlights when we come back.